profit oriented. And because they're profit oriented, they're serious in their business. They know what they're doing. So it is very important. The development of the country actually is mostly based on the private sector. Yeah.
So if you want, if that's the significance of private sector in the national development, let's talk about the roundtable they held yesterday.
We can't make you a morning person, but we can make your mornings better. Switch on to 94.3 Royal FM.
All social media platforms. But importantly, thank you so much for choosing to listen to us.
Yes, if you're listening to us this morning, please, we say that please stick to that radio because there is an interview coming up that you don't want to miss. Honestly, we are going to be speaking to the government spokesperson on quite a number of issues that are trending in the country. And I believe many of you want to hear what they have to say to us.
So if you don't want to miss that exclusive, stay locked in.
Stay locked in, or go on YouTube on Royal FM live. We're going to be live, or on X on Royal FM. We're going to be live. Hey.
On radio, online, on your phone.
Or go on
everywhere.
All the streaming platforms. You're going to find Royal FM.
Thank you.
94.3 Royal FM.
I didn't know that to some people, if they get cold, they become unserious.
I'm one of them.
So I turn on the AC, and then Arafat says, "Come on, Angel, I'm going to become unserious." I say, "How?" Because if
honestly, it was too much coldness, and
I mean, how does that affect you? How? I mean, how does that add up?
It's too much cold. So I was like, no, I can't afford to, there's a way.
How unserious do you become?
There's a way I become unserious.
Like you lose focus.
Okay.
Anyways, let's stay focused, ladies and gentlemen. So yesterday, like we said, there was that round table between the private sector, of course, the National Bank of Rwanda, so Ministry of Trade as well. Yesterday was something that actually happened, and in our opening remarks, of course, the governor, the Bank of Rwanda, said the session was intended to provide an open and constructive space for dialogue. And they say they would reflect on key developments affecting the economy, including the evolution of credit to private sector financing conditions, also the role of the financial sector in supporting businesses to grow and also continue to Rwanda's economic transformation. That was a very good one. And on top of that, by the way, in his remarks, that is the vice chairperson of the private sector from Rwanda, that's Jean-Claude Uwize-Mungu, he noted that the dialogue, which is actually a key opportunity to strengthen collaboration between the private sector, federation, and the National Bank of Rwanda, and that it provided the platform to identify the challenges, highlighting the opportunities, and also fostering regular engagement on the issues affecting the business community, contributing to the more resilient and growth-driven, economy. And on this, during the roundtable dialogue, which was something that's very, very good, they said the participants were emphasized to the importance of stronger collaboration between the financial and private sectors in unlocking new opportunities for growth. And on top of that, of course, the Minister of Trade, that is Minister Kajangwe, he noted that as Rwanda advances its development agenda, it is essential to prioritize the sectors that drive economic transformation. And among these, by the way, the Private Sector Foundation is one of the other sectors. Of course, they engage in a lot of activities through their trade, because there's a lot of employment opportunities in the Private Sector Foundation. That is something so good, because there's so many businesses and businessmen that ensure that, of course, they're providing jobs to Rwandans through innovativeness, through, of course, making factories, entrepreneurial skills, and all that stuff. It was something that was so good. So it was a very good roundtable that actually happened, and we must appreciate the fact that that roundtable happened, and some of them were even able to share some of the challenges that they face, and but most importantly, the financing was so crucial. Stand by for news at the top of the hour, and also the exclusive in the next hour. It's Kigali in the morning.
Get up, y'all. Early in the morning.
Wake up, Kigali in the morning.
and Angelo, and like you've had in the announcements on all over this, all over the platforms,
Very true.
online, everywhere. It has been trending since yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, behold, we are so honored to have the government spokesperson of the Republic of Rwanda, the one and only Yorande Makoro. You're most welcome.
Hey,
Thank you.
This is a custom.
that's a must. We have to do that.
Thank you, Angelo. Thank you, Arafat. I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to be back.
Yes,
at, Royal
actually,
FM
for
after-
us, we are honored to to be in your presence. We are very honored to be in your presence for sure, and of course, we hope this conversation has come on the right time, and we believe that we've had you in time where every Rwandan is actually looking at what is happening. There are so many trends in the country, and of course, having a chance to speak to you as the spokesperson of the government, it's very important, and it's very important for us here at 94.3 Royal FM.
Happy to answer your questions and happy to have a discussion with you today.
It's
That's a great one, yeah?
actually, it's not to answer the questions. Happy to have the conversation with us. We don't want to make it like a question to answer thing.
And
Maybe we,
actually, the chit chat we were having before
Yeah,
off
it
air,
was-
there's another bitch who are getting the kind of music. And the other day, she met, of course, the artists, the creative industry here in Rwanda. That was on
Yeah,
Tuesday.
yeah.
It was a great conversation you had, by the way. And in fact, yesterday we aired the clip you shared when you were telling them, you have a role in developing the nation and stuff like that. That's very good. And I've come to know that you love their music. And one of your favorites, one of the artists we'll talk about later on. But ladies and gentlemen, this morning, we're so honored to have you once again in the exclusive. Of course, you have everything now that we shall leave unturned, the national trending issues that have been happening is what we're going to be talking about, and in focus with, of course, the government, which is representing. Alfred, you'd want to take it from there.
I would want to take it from there, but honestly, my first question to you is to look at actually the current, crackdown that is ongoing on illicit alcohols, and also this crackdown has brought quite so many questions. That is there a problem in the monitoring or inspection, or are we having enough, laboratories, investigators, inspectors who are doing the job? Because these companies have been operating for more than 10 years. Some of them are even more than that. And someone is asking themselves, how comes this comes at this time? Are we have we been following up on what is happening in these companies? And also looking at that, you ask yourself, if Rwandan citizens have been consuming these, illicits for all that time, what does that mean for the population? I think maybe we can start our conversation from there.
Sure. We've been very busy in the past week with the reinforced enforcement and inspection of manufacturers of alcoholic beverages. And as you've seen, we have the regulator has shut down over 200 manufacturers. I think it's gotten to a point where there's been a decision made to have zero tolerance on any manufacturer that does not meet all the requirements that are set out in the regulations that exist. We do have these regulatory institutions. We have the Rwanda Food and Drug Administration, Rwanda FDA, which is a relatively new institution. We have the Rwanda Bureau of Standards that has been around longer. They work closely together. They have shared facilities like laboratories. They have inspectors. And I admit, it's clear that there's been some gaps. There's been some gaps that has allowed the proliferation of manufacturers that do not meet all the requirements. And it has gone on for too long, and there has been damage done. It's been a threat to public health, and this is why government is taking very decisive action currently. And we're doing this in the interest of public health, in the interest of ensuring that our society is not irreversibly harmed by these products. Should have happened earlier, yes. I think that maybe there's too much flexibility in the inspections, and those gaps are being closed now. and we're doing it transparently. We're informing Rwandans about what we're doing. The feedback is good because Rwandans, for the most part, support what we're doing. We are getting criticized as government for not doing it earlier, but better late than never. So we're here. This is our responsibility, and we will continue this work until anything that harms Rwandans is taken out of the market, including similar products that are imported from outside the country. And I mean, regulation is not just about these institutions that do the inspections and the labs. It's also about ensuring a quality supply chain all along the chain, meaning all the raw materials that are imported into the country, ensuring that the suppliers are scrutinized, so that anything that goes into manufacturing products, especially that we consume, like food and medicines, are of the highest quality and that do not harm Rwandan's health.
Wow.
So this is what we are working on now. We're making good progress, and there will be accountability. By the way, there'll be accountability both with the manufacturers and also on the part of government. Investigations are ongoing.
Actually, that's one thing I wanted to ask, because you talked about reluctance on the inspection, and someone out there is wondering, who is now to blame when it comes to reluctance? Have you already discovered, have you already found out, the gaps, where the gaps were, and of course, who are these people liable for that in the leadership that of course have to be to be brought to books and make sure that the justice is provided to people perhaps who succumbed to these illicits?
Yeah. So a number of arrests have been made. I think maybe later on today and this week we'll know more the details. But investigations have been going on to know exactly who needs to be held accountable, and they will have to answer for the situation that we're in, both in the private sector and within government. So we'll have more news on that as the investigations continue and the law enforcement does its job.
The other day I was speaking to someone and I was telling me, Arafat, I'm looking at the crackdown, and of course yesterday we saw the crackdown on of course alcohols that come outside of Rwanda, and this person was telling me, up to now I'm scared of even having a beer. And I was like, what are you talking about? The guy was telling me, you know what, I don't exactly know which beer now to take. Because of what is happening, probably I might be taking one of the lists. So what confidence would you give to people listening to us this morning at 94.3 Roll FM that, you know what, regardless of the crackdown that is ongoing, perhaps if you want to take an alcohol, do this or take this? Which kind of advice would you give someone who is still in that suspense, that is saying, you know what, I don't know what's happening with alcohol. Should we be taking alcohol in, or we should stop taking alcohol?
This is why we're being transparent. This is why all the announcements that have been made in the last 4 days, every day this week, the FDA and the Rwanda Bureau of Standards has released lists of companies that have been shut down for various violations, as well as the products that are now recalled. So people should read these lists. They're out there. They're in the public, and if they're not, if the products are not on that list, and if they're not made by those companies, then they should be reassured that they're okay.
So I don't know whether this is right to ask, but I don't know whether it's even something that you can answer. Is there anyone so far that is considered to be in the leadership position that has been brought to account among the arrests we've had, that perhaps this is a sign that, even people who are responsible for the inspection are being brought to account?
I think we should wait for law enforcement to make those announcements. As I said, the investigations are ongoing, and we will know soon in the coming days who is suspected to have been involved in the malpractice that we've seen so far.
Okay.
First of all, I must commend the work that has been done by the government. And when we're sharing this, some people raised questions that, okay, the crackdown was long overdue. And thank you so much for, at least we may call it waking up and implement this for saving their lives. And others were like, okay, on the economic terms. Of course, they've had responses saying that, Okay, economically, you can't relate economics with people's lives. People's lives come first, which is very, very ideal. But now to the other traders, the suppliers, who whose some of the products they were selling have been confiscated, and others have been taken away. Who is going to be accountable for the losses? For this person who went to, for example, acquire a loan from the bank, gets the capital, starts trading, for example, the illicits. Is it the manufacturer who was producing these products, or the person will close their eyes and say, okay, it's a loss, let me receive it and I go on? Has the government thought about maybe compensation, or even if it's a common ground, you may take a half of the loss, or the other manufacturer may take a loss, but this trader went to get a loan, for example, and there are very many who have been earning a living from this, may get at least some small compensation, either from the manufacturer who's had the biggest profits because it's been selling the products, or has the government thought about that? Thank
Yes,
you.
we have. We have been thinking about it. We've been talking. It's being discussed by the relevant institutions led by the Ministry of Trade. So this is being looked at. I don't have any details to give you, answers to give you right now, but I think the bottom line is that the companies that were manufacturing these products in a way that was violating the regulations have the first responsibility. So this is something that's been looked at, and we will know in due time what options there will be for people who are caught up in this.
And of course, also on that, we're looking at quite a number of so many Rwandans who are set to lose their jobs, and of course, they've lost their jobs as we speak right now. If we're talking about about 200 manufacturers who are halted from doing their business because of the lists probably they've been producing, and of course that bringing problems to people's lives. What plans do we have so far in place to ensure that these people who are already employed also have something to do? I don't know even what plan that you have in place. Are we not going to see even more problems from the people who've been working in these companies coming out here without having nothing to do? What plans do you have in place currently that probably will resolve that problem?
Well, the first plan is to save lives because public health comes first.
Very fast.
So that there's no negotiation with that. There's no compromising on public health. Other than that, we continue with various government programs to ensure that there's opportunities for Rwandans to work in many other fields, including in legitimate, law-abiding manufacturing operations, and the relevant institutions will be working with the various communities to ensure that people are able to look for and find other opportunities to work, and not not be part of an industry that is harming their families and their society. So that's an ongoing issue. We've been at it for a long time. It's one of our priorities to ensure that young people have jobs. So we just need to do more of that, and it cannot be an excuse it cannot be an excuse not to stop something that is wrong. That people are when people are involved in operations that are harming the society, including themselves. So let's take care of that first, and then keep working to ensure that people are able to get other opportunities.
So, speaking to experts in the health sector, some of the experts were telling us that what, when you take illicits, you might see the impact today or see them after some years. And of course, this brings us to the question: is the ministry responsible for health, or the Minister of Health having plans, or do you have plans to ensure that you create the awareness to ensure that people perhaps who've had access to these illicits come up for checkups, maybe to understand before we see more deaths? Because I saw reports of about 50 deaths that resulted from the illicits. Do we have plans to ensure that at least there's this campaign, people to come and have the checkups about what might have gone wrong in their body?
Well, the first responsibility is for the people themselves to ensure that what they're putting in their bodies does not harm them, because we're talking about these alcoholic beverages that are manufactured industrially, but they're also the local brews that have additives, where people have been arrested for also producing traditional brews with ethanol or methanol even, and other harmful products. So number one is for people, families themselves, to be responsible for their own health, to ensure that they have mutuelle de santé. This is already ongoing. We care for the health of every Rwandan. And then even licit brews, meaning legal alcohol, is harmful to your health. And the Minister of Health has been talking about this. For the minister, no amount of alcohol is safe. And if you, for him, he would encourage people not to drink alcohol at all. But if you're going to drink alcohol, number one, ensure that you're drinking legal products, and then in moderation, because the more you drink, the worse it is for you. And as you said, it might not harm you immediately, even the high quality products, but eventually it has an effect on your health. So you've heard about the Tumwe Less campaign. This continues. We will reinforce it. We want responsible drinking. If you have to drink, if you're over 18, because under 18 is illegal. It's illegal to sell alcohol to anyone under 18. But if you're of legal drinking age, we are urging, and the ministry has been very strong on this, Rwandans to drink responsibly, in moderation, not to drink and drive. All this, because it has an effect on our health system as well. You're talking about the people who unfortunately died from these were traditional brews that had added harmful products in them. But we have people who then get sick, seriously ill, in hospital. There's a few weeks ago in Goma, we had about over 100 people drank a traditional brew that was made in the wrong way, that had additives in it, and they were all admitted to hospital, and for 5 days they had to be those emergency care for them. That costs money to the government.
Costs money, a lot of money for sure.
And it diverts resources that can go elsewhere. So first responsibility is us. Make sure, as an adult, as a young person over 18, if you're going to drink responsibly, to safeguard your health. And that also helps our society to manage the limited resources that we have. So yes, we will continue to reinforce the Tungwe Less campaign. We want people to drink responsibly, even with the legally allowed alcoholic products in the market.
So if I hear you very well, you're saying that if you know you've been exposed to illicits, the ones probably that were brought out of the market, were removed from the market, if you know you care about yourself, go to the hospital and do the checkup yourself. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
There's some people who've been exposed to illicits, but they're just there sitting on their backs. They don't know what is happening. They're just waiting to what is going to happen. Maybe they've seen a neighbor, they've seen a relative who has died due to these illicits. So what you're saying is that if you know one of them, please, it's your time to go to for the checkup.
Yes, go for a checkup and take care of yourself. And ensure that you're following all the regular health guidelines in terms of eating properly and getting enough rest and exercising, and also having a positive mindset and being busy doing productive work and taking care of your family and yourselves, because we want to build strong families. We want young people to be successful. We want fewer young people in rehab centers. This is something that we're also working on. We want to sustain and promote positive values in our society, because Rwanda has always relied on this for the progress that we've made. We've made unprecedented progress in the last 32 years, and we want this to continue. We're an ambitious country, and we will not get to where we want to get to if we are distracted, if our young people and older people are harmed by products that they're taking for whatever reason. So it's our responsibility as government to ensure that these products are not in the market. But we want to encourage people also to have this mindset of let's have some minimal standards. We have our own values as Rwandans, as we adopt new new values that are positive and that help us to progress. There's some fundamental values of our society that we want to maintain, because this is what makes us Rwandan. This is our identity as Rwandan people, and this is what will allow us to achieve our very ambitious goals as Rwandans.
Very true.
We're ending this session about alcohol because the other we wanted to talk about, but probably before we end this, assurance and safety are very important and key. Most of them have been worried. Yes, the crackdown is on, but people are not stopping consuming alcohol. If they've been consuming these illicits and the other strong liquors and the gins, there is another type of alcohol that's going to be consumed. What assurance do we have as the government, as the nation, and the citizens first, as we always say, that every bottle going forward that the Rwandans or whoever's in Rwanda is going to be consuming will be safe, considering either has it undergone the regulation, has it been tested in the laboratories, has there been an investment to ensure that now going forward, we are going to control this in a certain way. Basically, the assurance that is available with the resources that we have, the equipments we have, the infrastructure we have, that the health of Rwandans, those who in the minimum numbers that are going to keep consuming alcohol in moderation whatsoever, will be safe.
But this is precisely what we're doing. I think Rwandans should be reassured that the government is not, we do not hesitate to act and act very decisively when these gaps are seen, when public health is threatened. They should be reassured that we're taking the right action and that we're going to fill up any gaps that are identified, that the law enforcement will hold accountable those who need to be held accountable. So I think that should be reassuring to Rwandans. And we're doing this with transparency, and we're telling Rwandans exactly what we're doing, who's involved, and we will answer all those questions, because we want Rwandans to be comfortable and to know that what they're consuming is safe. Everything that they're consuming is safe. And then we need to support each other in this as well. We're talking about responsible drinking. As parents, as brothers and sisters in our community, we need to look out for each other as well. I think we can't underestimate the value of looking out for each other and ensuring that we're supporting our young people to enjoy themselves. First of all, we want young Rwandans to have fun. We want them to enjoy being Rwandan in their country, to use the resources that we have invested in as a government, and together with the private sector, our sports infrastructure. We want Rwandans to do more sports. We've built infrastructure for entertainment. We want these to be well utilized, fully utilized for people with talent and creativity. We want the Beka Arena full, like it was with King James last weekend. We want this to happen, but in a safe way, and not only in what we are consuming, but also what we are seeing, how people are behaving, that everyone is comfortable and they're enjoying themselves.
Oh, that's assuring. Ladies and gentlemen, we're with Yolande Makoro. She's the government spokesperson of the Republic of Rwanda. And we're discussing something very important, the national trending issues in focus with the government of Rwanda. I want to cross to the second segment of our exclusive. And Arafat, you want to take on that?
And of course, we move to the next topic of today, which is migration. And of course, Rwanda is again involved in discussions with European countries. We saw that coming from Italy on migration issues. After the UK migration processes, now we are seeing our country, Rwanda, involved in another European, negotiation to have asylum seekers here in Rwanda. To someone who has not heard about this, or even to, whoever might be interested in this, what are some of the standing reasons as to why Rwanda is again involved in ensuring that they have asylum seekers in Rwanda after the UK, agreements failed?
Rwanda has always been involved in migration in many ways. We are a country where, because of our history, people have had to move, out of the country and back, in the 90s, after 94. There are those who lived here and had to, flee or move to countries in the region. They came back. There are others who were refugees for many years. They came back. So we are very familiar with this migration issue. And additionally, because of that experience, we're also a welcoming country. We are a country that we have no. I think we're one of the least xenophobic countries. I don't think there's any kind of xenophobia here. Because of that experience, we understand people who have had to, run away with nothing and then come back and build a country. We have over 100,000 refugees in this country from the region, most of them in refugee camps, Congolese refugees, some Burundian refugees, and we have one of the most welcoming and open policies. Refugees are allowed to work in Rwanda. They have ID. They have access to healthcare. So we work with international organizations and other organizations to ensure that people who have had to flee their homes can live here safely and try to make a life well until they can return home or be resettled elsewhere. So we've done that for the last 30 years. That has informed our policy, our open policy on migration. Irregular migration is a global problem, and Rwanda has we've always been. We've always done our part as a member of the international community. So for us to have discussions with partners around Africa and outside Africa on how to put together a sustainable solution for people who are fleeing is natural, right? You know that we established in 2018 the emergency transit mechanism in Gashora. That brings in stranded migrants from Libya who are evacuated to Rwanda. We've had thousands of those come in, and a lot of them have been resettled to third countries, and that has worked really well. So we work together with the High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR, and other partners to fly in these African migrants who are stranded in Libya, and give them a home here temporarily while they're processed, and while other countries then offer them a more permanent home. So this has worked extremely well. It has saved a lot of lives, a lot of families, and we can do more of this. And this is part of what we're discussing.
So we're seeing more stories actually trending on the same in Italy, but of course we're not seeing that being talked about here. If you can just give us a few details on the Italy agreement, what is happening, and of course, what is Rwanda targeting to the main goal on the side of Rwanda in this partnership?
There is no agreement yet. I think we're still in discussion. And as I just said, one of the ideas that we're discussing is around like the emergency transit mechanism that we have in Gashora, a safe place for families who are stranded, who have nowhere else to go, who are in danger for various reasons, cannot be where they are right now, to come and have a safe place to get medical care, to get some sort of training, to rest, and then where the asylum applications are processed and where they're able to be either go back to the country of origin if it's safe and if they want to, or to be resettled to other countries. So we're still in discussion phase on that.
Wow, I like that. And of course, someone was like, probably there's some lessons learned from the previous agreements, and was like, let's hope the agreements this time are going to be perfect more than the last time, so we don't get the backlashes and of course the critics that came out.
Well, there'll always be criticism that comes with the territory, but we know that we're doing this for the right reasons, and we want to do it well. We want to be part of the global solution to a big problem, and we know what we're getting out of it in terms of being part of a solution. And even with the UK agreement that didn't work out because they cancelled it, it was basically based on giving people a home. There's nothing wrong with giving people a home, and in ensuring that their resources that are provided to ensure that people are able to either be rehabilitated and then reintegrated, and to have a permanent home somewhere that is welcoming, and that they're able to bring their own skills and their own assets to a new country. Migration has built many economies around the world, and we want to get the best out of it.
So simply the lessons learned from the previous will actually help shape this one in the right way.
For sure, everything that we do helps us to make sure that the next thing that we do goes better.
Of course, we have our third topic. Of course, that was the first one. Unless you have something else you wanted to say on migration before we move to the next topic of today.
No, on migration, I just say we're doing it for the right reason. It's a big problem around the world, and a lot of these asylum seekers are Africans. We don't want Africans to suffer in countries that are not welcoming to them. We don't want Africans making dangerous journeys across the desert and dying in the Mediterranean. Why? I mean, ideally, they would stay home and have opportunities and have safety in their own homes. And if they're not able to get that, maybe they can get it in other countries, in Africa especially. We don't want to lose our young people to the Mediterranean or the Sahara Desert, or to other countries beyond that do not want them. We want young Africans to be happy to live in their continent and to contribute to building this continent together.
Could there be an anticipation of when the agreement probably will be inked?
No, we don't have any details now, but we'll let you know as things progress.
Okay, cool. So we are heading to our next topic, which is talking about Rwanda and of course DRC and of course FDR. So my first question here will be looking at, of course, recently that we saw the DRC says that there was an agreement between the government of DRC and, of course, the FDR. And many people were asking themselves, when you adopt a child and that child lives with you for a while, it becomes quite very difficult to, abandon the child and give them out for, sacrifice them, or maybe what you might call sacrificing them, or what you might call giving them out for to face justice. So the question here is, how confident is Rwanda, or of course what are some of the tangible actions that Rwanda would expect from this agreement between the DRC and FDR? Is it something that from the Rwanda's perspective that they trust that would yield any result?
Well, first of all, the agreement that we're operating under right now, the framework, is the Washington Peace Agreement, which is very clear on what every party needs to do. We are doing our part, and we have worked together with the mediator directly to accelerate the completion of this agreement, to implement our part, meaning that we have been progressively lifting defensive measures in the DRC and disengaging forces in order to jumpstart this agreement, because it was stuck, primarily because we have seen very little political will on the part of the DRC to implement what they're supposed to implement, meaning the neutralization of the FDLR. And the way to do this was very clear. It was the CONOPS that was agreed. This is what they signed on to. There was an operational order that needed to be followed, and this hasn't been done. So the agreement that is the current agreement with the FDLR is something that we seek to understand, because it was not part of the agreement. That's not what was meant by neutralization. What we see from Rwanda, because we follow very carefully and we have a lot of intelligence about what this genocidal militia, the FDLR, is doing in the DRC. We follow them very closely. We know that there hasn't been any separation between of the FDLR from the Congolese armed forces. They are still embedded in the Congolese army, and the FDLR is a mobile force. They're very mobile. They've been entrenched in the Virungas for decades now. And they're able to move in and out of those areas very expertly, because they've been there for a long time and they know the terrain. So we have not seen separation. And we know that they continue to receive financial support, political cover, and other kinds of support from the DRC army, including fighting alongside them on the front lines. We also know that they have command and control over other militias in the DRC that are involved in the conflict. So we haven't seen this stop yet. So any real neutralization and action to ensure that the FDLR no longer exists has to have those characteristics. We have to see that separation. And in addition, we are set up in Rwanda to handle any of these ex-combatants from the FDLR that are repatriated to Rwanda. We have the Rwanda Demobilization and Reintegration Commission. We have a center in Mutobo that has demobilized and reintegrated successfully tens of thousands of ex-combatants. So we have the expertise. This is well known. We have demobilized not just the ex-combatants, but also reintegrated their families in the thousands. We continue to do this. That center has a lot of capacity, and they stand ready to receive these FDLR that are repatriated, whether it's through MONUSCO, whether it's voluntary repatriation on their own, and many have come through. So we are set up for that, so this is what we want to do. Those who are with a case to answer, those who are suspected to have committed crimes, will be held accountable for it. They'll go through the justice system. But their families and others who are drawn into this movement, this genocidal movement, and do not have cases to answer, they will be supported and reintegrated back into their communities. And many have successfully. These are the Rwandans that are out there on our hills, and they're working the land. They're doing various kinds of jobs. They're contributing to the economy. This is what we want. We want Rwandans to be in Rwanda, and we want them to be productive. We want to work on ensuring harmony in our communities, and this unity in our country. We need to reinforce it. This is what the RDRC, the Demobilization Commission, works on, and they contribute to that. So we are set up for that, and this is what we're expecting. But we're not seeing that action coming from the DRC.
But of course, someone out there is wondering, like, when you talk about neutralization of the FDLR, many people, even supporters of the DRC government, are training online, saying, you know what, DRC is doing their job. They've done their job just because of the agreement, and that Rwanda is not doing their side. And to someone who would want to understand exactly how Rwanda would want neutralization to be, how would the neutralization be, or how would the process go for Rwanda to be, certain that neutralization is really working? Do we have lists of those that we want to be brought back to Rwanda? Do we have lists of those that, the disarmament? How is the disarmament actually supposed to be done in a way that Rwanda really wants it, so that it can feel something being done on the grounds of the DRC?
Well, listen, this is not our first rodeo with the DRC. We have worked together with previous governments in the DRC to go after FDLR, and we have arrested their leaders. And we're not talking about refugees here. We're talking about armed combatants who have a genocidal ideology.
Because also DRC said can disarm them and of course eventually dissolve them. But how can Rwanda trust that?
We don't, because we see what's happening, and we know that the FDLR leadership is not at all worried about being neutralized. They're not scrambling and afraid that they're going to be repatriated to Rwanda, because they know they have the backing of the DRC. So I think that's clear that this is not it's not what was intended by the peace agreement. And you know that they've been responsible. FDLR has been responsible for attacks in Rwanda. They've been responsible for atrocities in the DRC. So this is not a group to be coddled. When we talk neutralization, it is laid out exactly what needs to happen. We're even willing, we have told the mediator, and we have discussed this with the DRC as well, Rwanda is willing to work with them, to work with the DRC to ensure that this group is completely dismantled. We've done it before. Umoja Wetu, these joint operations that we've done in past years, we're open to that as well. So there's ways to do this. There's ways to carry out this action jointly. Um, but should they not want to do that, which they have expressed that they do not want up to now, then they should do the right thing. Do the right thing. It's laid out in the agreement. It's laid out in the CONOPS, and that's what we are all expecting should happen if this is a fair process. And we want it to be a fair process because the Washington Agreement is actually a good agreement. It's a good agreement. It answers everybody's concerns, our security priorities, and the DRC is concerned. We worked on this agreement together over days. We on every article. This is what we signed, and the end state is we not only want a secure, stable, peaceful DRC and Rwanda, but the region, because the FDLR is a threat, a security threat to the entire region by their physical violence that they rely on to push their agenda, but also that genocide ideology in our region is a virus. It's a virus that threatens people's lives. We need to get rid of that. So we want a secure, stable region where we can work together on more productive things. There's so many resources in this region that we can rely on to build prosperity. We need to move on to that. We need to move beyond this ongoing conflict into something that's productive for the people of the region. They deserve it. It's been too long.
Should we consider the DRC's actually the announcement of the recent agreements now? Should we consider its process, its new way of diverting from the Accord, from the Washington Agreement?
Well, yes, it's part of their part of the games that the DRC continues to play, and it shows a lack of seriousness and a lack of willingness to get this done. It shows a disrespect for the agreement that we signed. So we hope things get back on track, but we will continue to insist that our security is important and that we remain committed to ensuring that we implement the agreement to the letter.
So the last question, probably, but not the least, reports suggest the protocol includes security guarantees for FDLR members, during disarmament. How does Rwanda view those guarantees, particularly where individuals may be, suspected of genocide or other serious crimes, like you mentioned earlier? How can they be guaranteed that they're going to be safe?
I don't know what that is. These are not refugees. The FDLR, these are not refugees. These are armed genocidal militias.
So they have to face justice.
Those with a case to answer.
Okay.
But I've just told you that we have a solution that is proven. We have an institution that has expertise in disarming, in demobilizing, and rehabilitating and reintegrating ex-combatants into the society, into the Rwandan society. These are Rwandans who should be in Rwanda. The ones with cases to answer, we have a very strong justice system that has experience in handling these cases. So we are already set up. We have the infrastructure and we have the capacity to handle the disarmament and rehabilitation of this group.
Is there one or two, three things that probably the Rwandan government has discovered as the hindrance, as the the hindrance to the DRC's failure to disarm and, of course, hand over these genociders to Rwanda?
Well, number one is political will. Yeah, you need political will to push through the agreement, to do what you said you would do. We also know that there might be an attempt to sanitize this group, to make it into some sort of political movement, which is not acceptable. We know that because we have had people like Jean-Luc Habyarimana, the son of the
former
president in Kinshasa. He's been to Kinshasa many times. We know that he's talking to the government of the DRC and many other characters with links to this group and links to the former genocidal government in Rwanda. have been working to perhaps sanitize this group, and we think that's unacceptable.
So honestly, this group is working very closely with the DRC government. It's like, the analogy I used where an adopted child is very hard to give out for just to face justice.
Yes, or to give back to the country where they belong, and we have a humane way to deal with the members of this group.
If we happen to have someone maybe from DRC government who is listening to this show this morning, or probably will have a chance to listen to it, what is one thing would you maybe give out as the last word for you for the DRC government on the same issue?
Let's get this agreement done in good faith, which is what Rwanda wants to do, which is what we have been doing. And we do talk to the DRC government. I happen to be a member of the Joint Oversight Committee for the implementation of the Washington Peace Agreement. So we do talk frequently. And what I'm saying now is what we say to them every time we meet. So let's get this done because the agreement properly. Let's get this done properly because the agreement is good. It's good for Rwanda. It's good for DRC. And it's good for our region. So let's get it done with good faith. And also to the mediator to continue to make an effort to be balanced, to ensure that parties are scrutinized equally, and not all the blame being put on Rwanda because only Rwanda has been sanctioned. And we think that's unfair, and we think the mediator should make an effort to be more balanced in their mediation.
Must appreciate you for the exclusive and the way you've answered the questions. Probably has hoped somebody get the assurance that the Rwanda government is doing all it can to ensure that national interests are put first, but of course also the safety of the Rwandans and everybody else that is in Rwanda is safe and sound. Yolande Makolo, ladies and gentlemen, is the government spokesperson of the Republic of Rwanda. We had an exclusive on the national trending issues in focus with the government of Rwanda. Thank you so much for the time you've given us.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure actually being in your audience. Actually, we appreciate that you took time to come here, and we hope that next time when we need you, we'll probably get you on the microphone to talk to us.
Always available.
And hopefully the next one will not be more serious like this. We'll have more children than that. But thank you so much. She'll send us a playlist.
I'll send you my playlist of Rwandan music. It's 5 hours and 25 minutes of really good Rwandan music.
5 hours, 25
Yes.
minutes. I need the playlist.
I'll send it to you.
I can't wait to listen to that. Once again, thank you so much. Next up is Sandy Wase with Z Frequency. Ladies and gentlemen, until tomorrow, Friday office party. Now FM does. Have a great day.
Wake up to Kigali in the morning. On 94.3.
It's awesome!
Royal FM.